Session 4, Question 2. How is the epithelial layers classified? If it's simple, the first one, the classification is simple. What does that mean? The next one is stratified, SS. What does that mean? The third one is pseudo-stratified. Which of these are pseudo-stratified? Pseudo-stratified columnar. In this one, the cells contact the basement membrane, but they don't reach the surface. The nuclei are located at multiple levels, so it looks multi-layered, but it's actually not multi-layered. So it's classified by the arrangement of cells within a layer. How else is it classified? It's classified by the shape of the cells. What are the different shapes of cells? One starts with S, one starts with C, one starts with C, one starts with T. The first one is this one. What's it called? The second one is this one. What's it called? The third one is this one. What's it called? Transitional. Sorry, that's the fourth one. This is the third one. And this is the fourth one, transitional. The shape varies with tissue stretching. With simple columnar, there's non-ciliated simple columnar epithelium, columnar cells with microvilli, and this lines the GI tract. So simple columnar line the GI tract. Ciliated simple columnar, which looks the same but not as easily identifiable in this version, provides motility and helps move fluids along. Where is it? If this is in the GI tract and it's simple, and this one is also simple but it lines fluids along, what is it? Lines the uterine tubes, bronchioles and brain ventricles. So that's interesting that non-ciliated simple columnar, they have microvilli but they don't have cilia, and the microvilli is enough for the GI tract for absorption. The epithelial tissue has many cell junctions to provide secure attachment, and it's packed with very little extracellular material. The only way nutrients and waste can move is by what? Diffusion. Is there a high or low mitotic rate? What are some differences between tissues and epithelial structures? Connective tissue can be what? Epithelial tissue provides secure attachment, in contrast. In epithelial, how do nutrients and waste move? They must move by, in blood and lymph, in connective tissue, nutrients and waste move freely and in a variety of ways depending on their structure. For example, it's not as freely in dense, irregular tissue. What consistency can it be, the connective tissues? Liquid, gel or solid, whereas in epithelial it's always solid. Connective tissues rarely touch. In contrast, epithelial tissues, what? Are epithelial tissues avascular? Yes, they are. Connective tissues, are they vascular? Yes, they are. They're vascular. Whereas epithelia, avascular. The only one in connective tissue that is avascular is functionally. Connective tissue has a variety of strengths. What's the strongest one? Why? Which ones are most flexible and provide support in their flexibility? The hyaline cartilage is an example of flexible and support at joints. In the epithelial, most function as protection and lining, and simple columnar epithelium also excrete what? All cells are in epithelial, apart from the cilia to move mucus in, columnar epithelial. In connective tissue, it also has an elastic function that epithelial doesn't. What are the two elastic type connective tissues? Elastic cartilage and elastic connective tissue. This is not a primary function of any epithelial tissues. The membranes are very different with epithelial and connective. Firstly, epithelial membranes consist of an epithelial layer. For mucous membranes, In connective tissue, it's the areolar connective tissue type. In epithelial, it's required a lot of tight junctions. What's the functional classification of connective tissue? Firstly, the way that we classify connective tissue is actually based on the structure. So we either say loose connective, dense connective, cartilage, bone, liquid. Loose connective, dense connective, cartilage, bone, liquid. Loose connective is areolar, adipose, reticular. The loose connective is areolar, adipose, reticular. The dense connective is dense regular, dense irregular, and elastic. The cartilage is hyaline, fibrocartilage, and elastic. The bone, it's just by itself bone tissue. Number 5, liquid connective tissue. That's easy to remember. What are the two types? Let's go to the hard parts. Loose connective tissue. It's either something starting with A, another thing starting with A, and something starting with R. For dense connective tissue, it contains more numerous, thicker and dense fibres, and there's D for the first one, then a D for the second one, then an E for the third one. Let's start with areolar connective tissue, and this is a loose connective tissue. It's found in the subcutaneous layer. It contains collagen fibres. Adipose connective tissue, and this is a loose connective tissue. This has adipocytes, which specialise in the storage of triglycerides. So we have areola, which has all cell types, fibroblasts, plasma cells, macrophages, mast cells, white blood cells. Adipose just has adipocytes, and it's an energy reserve, brown fat. Reticular, which is loose connective, helps to bind together the cells of the smooth muscle. Smooth muscle. Has reticular fibres and reticular cells. Then we go on to the dense connective tissue. The dense regular connective tissue has parallel bundles of collagen fibres. What's its function? Dense irregular tissue also has collagen fibres, but they are, and where are they found? Parts of the body where tensions are exerted in any direction. And the third one, type of dense, is elastic connective tissue. Its function is elasticity. So the dense connective tissue is found in tendons, dense regular connective tissue. Dense irregular is found in sheets of the dermis, found in heart valves, the tissue surrounding cartilage, the periosteum, P-E-R-I-O-S-T-U-M, and the white of the eyeball. The elastic connective tissue is found places where it can stretch and still turn to original shape. These are where? Lung, vocal cords, ligament between vertebrae, and aorta. Now we have the third type, cartilage, hyaline, fibrocartilage, elastic. It's avascular. It has a lot of collagen and elastic fibers. It's surrounded by dense irregular connective tissue called the perichondrium. The perichondrium is the dense, irregular connective tissue around it. And we have cartilage in the larynx, for example. Here's one type of cartilage. The most abundant but weakest is found at the ends of bones, the respiratory tract, and immature skeleton. No blood vessels or nerves. Provides flexibility and support at joints, reduces friction, and absorbs shock. Fibrocartilage lacks the perichondrium. It's the strongest of the three types, so it allows for rigidity and stiffness. Where do we need rigidity and stiffness? Elastic cartilage. Perichondrium is present. It contains a thread-like network of elastic fibers. Functions with strength and elasticity. Where is it? And then we go on to bone. And after bone, we're going to be looking at the fifth one, which is liquid connective tissue. What's the liquid matrix called? The elements in the blood are red blood cells, leukocytes, and platelets. Their function is supply of immunity and, as well as blood, liquid connective tissue is lymph. What does extracellular fluid flow in? It has a similar composition to plasma but contains less It functions in immunity and movement of molecules.